We're starting part 2 of our trip to Malaysia. We fly to the city of Miri. It's in the province of Sarawak on the island of Borneo. Borneo also contains the Kingdom of Brunei and part of Indonesia.
Niah National Park is a prehistoric site. Human remains from 40,000 years ago were found in these enormous caves. Many of the remains show signs of tight binding and mutilation, an indication of ritual murder. Today, workers still harvest nests from the swiftlet birds that live in the caves for Chinese bird's nest soup. The saliva of the swiftlet is used as a glutinous nest cement. It contains carbohydrates and glycoprotein. Swiftlets are the only birds adapted to live in caves. The park has 3 caves, and the walk to the first cave is nearly 2 miles long. The walkway is in good shape, but slippery. These are romantic red millipedes. The male is redder, the female browner and larger. The male positions his 7th segment in front of the female's 3rd segment. Just like a feller. He's running off now for another hookup. This is a hammerhead worm, a predator that catches earthworms with gluey secretions that make escape impossible. This is the mouth of the Trader's Cave, where middlemen bought the nests years ago. Members of the Penan tribe are the custodians and collectors of the nests. These are remnants of the huts where they stayed during the harvest season. There are 2 freshwater wells here, one for drinking and the other for washing. They used these huts until the late 1970s. Green lichen covers some of the surfaces of the cave. The walkway through the cave is meandering and almost all stairs. There are millions of sleeping bats and tons of bat guano everywhere. The birds' nests are at the roof of the cave, and the workers climb up hardwood poles they've constructed, operating from a small platform high above the cave floor. They reach out with a long bamboo pole with a candle and a scraper at the top. The 3 caves are connected. This is the 2nd cave, the Niah Great Cave. This is even steeper than the first. It is vast, 1¼ miles long, over 800 feet across and 200 feet high. When the sun hits an overhead vent, the cave is penetrated by dramatic rays of otherworldly light. The swiftlet birds navigate like bats do. They make clicks in their throat for echolocation. Big crickets live in watery areas and cohabitate with the birds and the bats. They feed on the guano. Now we're on our way to the Painted Cave, through the rainforest. Uh-oh! 2 trees have fallen and destroyed the boardwalk. We're determined to get around it, or under it, or over it. Joyce is willing to climb, but not to touch the slick, oozy, wet trees. Okay, she's ready now. This is not as easy as it looks. Climbing down and slopping through the stream was hard enough, but getting up to the boardwalk? Harder. Success! Now it's Reynold's turn. He's more than ready. No gloves for him, no boost needed. Just look at that deltoid. Glad to leave that all behind. Or did we? The cave paintings stretch for 30 feet, protected by a cyclone fence with barbed wire. Painted with red hematite, they depict jungle animals, human figures, and souls of the dead being taken to the afterlife by boat. No choice but to go back the way we came. A happy face with healthy red cheeks back on the boardwalk. We retrace our steps through the first 2 caves, adding another 1.25 miles, and 2 more miles back to headquarters. Then back across the river by boat, over 6 miles in the heat and humidity. and maybe another 1/4 of a mile of ups and downs. It's lucky we didn't have any bathrooms to hold us up. It's now 4:15 and we are starving. Time for a Chinese lunch in a little town nearby. Our first food since 10:30 a.m. We are surprised at how tasty they can make a simple pork, fungus, and egg drop soup. This is the local drink, arak, distilled from who knows what. Could be grain, coconut flowers, or palm fruit. It's not too bad. Tastes like fruity sake. 17% alcohol, maybe. It says plus or minus because the distillery is not really sure. A bottle runs 50 cents. Sold in recycled beer bottles.
Today we fly to the little town of Mulu. Joyce's pencil portrait of a boy in the Miri airport makes a fast friend. Air travel is the only way into Mulu, unless you want to hike the Headhunters Trail, which takes 2 days. A small airport with a modest luggage belt. Several major international airports have fashioned their baggage handling after Mulu's tried and true method. We head to the national park to visit 2 more caves. The walk to the caves is nearly 2 miles through primary forest. Our guide claims there are no mosquitoes in primary forests. That's the good news. The less good news is today's hike will be like yesterday's, over 6 miles. Native hunters used blowpipes with poison darts. The bark of this tree is the source of the poison. There is no antidote. We stop for a snack. Nobody comes between Reynold and his stash of cashew nuts. First stop on your right, the Lang Cave. It's not huge, but it's far and away the most beautiful cave we have ever seen. Worms exude these sticky threads to catch prey. The Deer Cave is a short hike away. It's over a mile long and nearly 600 feet high, which probably has a lot to do with why there are no mosquitoes in this forest. On your right, a silhouette of Abraham Lincoln. It's called Deer Cave because herds of deer came to feed on the salt licks. The bat guano contains salt, which leaches out to form salt deposits. The bats that live in this cave eat about 15 tons of flying insects every night. Late afternoon, crowds gather to see millions of bats exit the cave in spiraling, twirling clouds. The corkscrew pattern is designed to foil the dinner plans of hawks who perch on the surrounding cliffs. The bats travel up to 60 miles to feed.
The Marriott Resort is a take on townhouse bungalows set in the jungle. Inside, they are more like modern city hotel rooms. We head out on a longboat to a Penang village and then 2 more caves. The Penang village used to be run down. It still is. But the government has built new housing for the Penang, and clan members can live there for free. The cultural information signboards are actually a marketing setup. They support their local economy by selling Penang souvenirs to tourists. There are about a dozen vendors, and we are the only customers. Suddenly, a bus full of tourists descends on the market. Attention shoppers! Blue light special, aisle 1. Back to the boat and on to our cave destination. We go to the Cave of the Winds, about 1,000 feet long. We see an insect that is a mousy brown in natural light. Later, the color in this flash photo surprises us. It's called a lantern bug, complete with reflective wings. The wind cave is named for breezes caused by changes in air pressure and temperature between the inside and outside. This is lublinite, or moon milk as they call it, the result of a mixture of microbes and wind currents. The limestone here forms coves and wild shapes. We head over to the Clearwater Cave, and a short walk later, are we surprised? What's this, a bathroom in the jungle? How does Joyce spell relief? Any way she can. Clearwater is part of a system of caves that is 85 miles long and has the largest cubic volume of any cave on Earth. This cave is carved out of a limestone peak over 1 mile high. This is called Monophylia pendula, a plant with only one leaf. It only grows in Mulu. The huntsman spider has front legs somewhat twisted so they extend forward like a crab. The river that runs through the bottom of this cave is clear and refreshed constantly from dripping above. This bridge crosses the river that runs along the bottom of the cave. Where sunlight is present, bacterial algae form this rock pattern called phytokarst. The algae secrete acid to dissolve their way into the rock to obtain metabolic carbon. This leaves needle-sharp spikes that angle towards the daylight. The algae have to maintain alignment to the sunlight to photosynthesize and grow. Phytokarst refers to karst landforms created by plants. It is, as you might well suspect, under the larger category of biokarst. After the cave tour, Reynold perks up at the mention of the word lunch karst. Next to our little outdoor cafe, there is a swimming op. We pass. Typical food for cave walking: pumpkin, chicken, river fern, and rice. It's about a 6-mile boat ride back to the hotel. Back at the hotel, we get the world's fastest cooking lesson. 5 minutes tops. With Adil, the chef. He's making a noodle dish with pre-cooked chicken chunks, bok choy, julienne carrot, minced garlic, beaten egg, cooked squid, and shrimp. First, heat about 2 inches of oil in a wok. Immerse a handful of dry rice noodles in cold water briefly to moisten, called mi fun in Mandarin. Throw the entire pile of noodles into the oil and step back. In 5 seconds, it's crispy and lightly browned. Remove immediately and place on a plate for a base. In another wok, heat about 2 tablespoons of oil. Add the garlic and stir for a few seconds, not too brown. Add about 2 cups of water. Then the chicken, shrimp, and squid. Load on the bok choy and the carrots and put them all in. Let them heat up and the flavors merge. Then add seasonings: white pepper, salt, and seasoning, oyster sauce, soy sauce, and sesame oil. After about 15 seconds, it's ready. Strain it out with a spider and put it on the noodle basket. Leave the broth in the wok. Now for the sauce. Add some cornstarch mixed with cold water and the beaten egg to the broth in the wok. Let that cook together, stirring for about 10 seconds, and pour the sauce over the dish. Garnish with crispy fried shallots. These are sliced lengthwise and deep fried. Serve with minced garlic, minced chili peppers, and soy sauce in a small dipping bowl. Even if you don't eat the chilies, they add a nice zip to the soy sauce. Now, can we cook this for you? After dinner, we head back to the park and sign in for our night walk. This poisonous black centipede has killed the red millipede and is having a big Malaysian dinner. Another hammerhead worm like we saw in Niah. These are very sticky and come in black, orange, and even red. A spiny stick insect. The females are bigger than the males. A healthy young viper. These are very aggressive and very poisonous. This little tree frog hides in a pipe and makes a really loud squawk. Back at the hotel, Reynold orders tuak, a local rice wine. So local, they only have the homemade version in a used water bottle. Neutral, like sake with an off flavor, maybe from ginger. It's dry. It's not on the bar menu. They keep it for visiting tribal dignitaries. The night is winding down, and a toad makes his home at the bar. The bartender says he comes every night.
We leave Mulu, where the airport has 5 incoming gates but only 1 outgoing gate, on to Kuching on the west coast of Borneo. That evening, we are off to visit Frog Heaven in Kuba Park, about 15 miles from Kuching. On the walk to the pond, we see some torrent frogs. This species is edible. We reach the pond. We're taking pictures, and so is our guide, Paul. We end in a rain shower. Joyce is prepared.
On our last day, we go to a tribal longhouse. The Badayu tribe lives in connected houses along a central corridor. They are commercially enterprising and give us a souvenir adhesive decal. The traditional stairs have handrails added to accommodate tourists. Joyce manages without touching the banisters, thanks to her extreme fitness from walking 25 miles this past week. The common walkway is constructed of bamboo. The Welcome Committee issues complimentary shots of tuak, but it's nothing like the rice wine we tried in Mulu. Sweet and fruity, like a very mild pineapple daiquiri. Some herbs, including ginger, make people think it's powerful, but it's not. $2.50 the bottle. It seems too smooth and way too tourist-friendly to be homemade hooch. Along the walkway, we can peek into an occasional open door. Washing and food preparation are done outdoors by some of the tribe. Also cooking. You build a bamboo fire and put your pot on the ring. Another open-door household, and we see a modern refrigerator. Until about 300 years ago, they were headhunters. They still have a collection of human skulls. More tuak for sale in front of a house. Still only $2.50 a bottle. The larger satellite dish is illegal. They use it to pull in programs from Indonesia, bypassing government censorship. they display a notable talent for drawing and painting. One of the houses that offers tourist homestays. Notice the TripAdvisor sticker over the door. Another entrepreneur shows us his mini-museum. He demonstrates his musical instruments. The headdress of the chief. A basket for carrying severed heads. It's tapered so the head doesn't roll around. This is a muscle support worn around the upper back or the arms for carrying heavy loads. Reynold is appointed the new tribal chief. They line up 16 maidens from whom he must choose his number one bride. He selects a sweaty, cheery white woman. Our guide leads us over a bridge to see some newer tribal houses, and Joyce draws this pencil sketch of the scene. On our way out, we see a hand-operated sugarcane crusher. You put the sugarcane between the log and the yoke.
We bid goodbye to Borneo and Malaysia at the end of November, where the obsession with Christmas is already overwhelming.
It's Christmas time all over the world, and places near and far. And so, my friends, wherever you are, which means a very Merry Christmas to you. Though the customs may change and the language is strange, this appeal we feel is real in Holland or home. Yes, it's Christmas time all over the world, in places near and far. And so, my friends, wherever you are, that's right, which means a very Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas, everybody!